Hey guys, today we're going to make another horror inspired repaint. I promise my next one is going to be a lot more cute, but I was really excited that a lot of you seem to enjoy the Wendigo inspired repaint I did, because horror is actually my personal favorite category. After cutting off the hair, I just made a mold of the face using polymer clay and then made a mold of that using some mold putty. And then because I wanted to have some fun with the mouth, I cut this off the doll as well and then did the same to the mold. Add a thin sheet of clay to the mold and start sculpting. So this zombie is inspired by the series Walking Dead. I found a few images online and just took bits and pieces that I liked from each one and combined them. It's not meant to look like an exact replica, but it is inspired by that style of zombie. On the Wendigo inspired video I did, some of you said that it looked more like a zombie, and I mean, I can't really do anything about that. All I can say is definitely go write a letter to the developers of that game, because it was inspired by the game Until Dawn and not so much the whole folktale Wendigo creature, so I'm not the one to beat up. To get a good zombie look, what you want to focus on is really just to make the skin look pretty dry. I guess zombies don't really stop to think about moisturizing. And of course, throwing in a missing limb or facial feature is a really nice touch as well. I have gotten a couple of questions asking if you can bake the clay directly on the doll head rather than making a mold. This is not something I'd recommend. In some cases, the vinyl of the dolls can actually be baked. You'll see this with some reborn dolls. However, I'm not sure the Monster High dolls are one of those type of dolls, and also, as far as I know, you would need a separate doll for this rather than the one you're going to be cooking food in. So if you really don't want to use mold putty or you just don't have mold putty, your other option would be to use air dried clay, which you can then sculpt and shape and then leave to dry on the doll. The tools I'm using to sculpt are my X-Acto knife, a pointy dotting tool, a needle tool, then a silicone tool, and a toothbrush. As for the toothbrush, I'm using it at the end to add some additional texture, and depending on if you're using a toothbrush with soft or stiff bristles, it's going to give a different effect. The one I'm using for these repaints have very stiff bristles, which is going to help add some extreme texture. It's great for the wounded parts. And if you're using it in a brushing motion, it's going to help add some fine lines and wrinkles. Once you're done, you want to bake and then glue it onto the doll. And then just like in the Wendigo tutorial, I'm going to be using tea bags to make the bald head. Next we're going to be adding some color, and for this I'm using acrylic paint and soft pastel. I first added some flesh tone acrylic paint to the entire face and also to the body of the doll. I then went in and added some rough base shading using soft pastel, and I then added the rest of the details using mostly acrylic paint but also some pastel. The great thing about horror-inspired repaints is that you really don't have to worry about making it look neat. Any flaws are just going to add to the effect. As an example, if you have loose pieces of the tea bags which haven't been covered completely, it's just going to look like flaky skin. And if you accidentally nick the clay while sculpting, it's just going to look like a cut. For the eye, I'm adding some UV resin mixed with white acrylic paint. For the hair I'm going to be using viscose, and this time I'm just going to be adding it, leaving a lot of the scalp visible. This is going to help with the look of decay, which is kind of what we're going for. I'm also using the UV resin for the blood by mixing it with red acrylic paint. And then as a final touch, I'm just adding some glaze all over to make it look really nice and sticky. Really hope you enjoyed. If you have any requests for any characters, but also especially horror themed, as that is something I don't receive that many requests for, definitely do let me know in the comments.